Howdy, folks. It's story time, the next edition. This episode takes place, I reckon, around the mid 90s when I was living down there in Balmer. It was actually Catonsville, Maryland. I love that little crazy town. Everything I needed was within walking distance. It was just a beautiful thing. There was a gas station a block away, a barber across the street, a bar, a liquor store, a pizza shop, you name everything. All the essentials of life were right there at my disposal, one block away. I just loved it, except for the crime. There was so much crime down there, I got to tell you a story. So when G Money was he was living down there in Catonsville, Maryland, he used to catch shoplifters at a department store called Caldor. It kind of like a Target, Kmart type thing, but it was all red and white like Target, so you could call it like a Target store. And ooh, doggy, it was like going to war every day. You never knew who you're going to fight today. I know one thing. Back then, I was in pretty good shape. I was lifting all them weights and running and playing football, and not anymore. But let me tell you about this story. I used to get this one lady deputy, real nice lady, a tall, blonde-haired lady, looked like she was a marathon runner. She would come in and always pick up the shoplifters, I call it, and I am proud to tell you I was the number one asset protection officer in catching shoplifters. Nobody could even come close. I found it very easy to pick people out, and you could see what they were doing. But another buddy of mine named Troy, he couldn't catch a cold in Alaska. That's how bad he was catching shoplifters. Anyway, this story's not about Troy. So when I was not working catching shoplifters, I used to do a lot of lawn care and lawn maintenance. So I had a little garage and a bunch of tools in there. And so I'll never forget this one Saturday morning. I got up early and I was doing some lawnmower maintenance and all that type of thing, you know, that lawn fellers do. So in the afternoon, I'd say about noontime or so, I don't recall exactly when it was. I want to say this was probably, I know it was getting kind of colder weather. It was near the end of the season. Probably, I want to say October-ish, maybe. It was, whatever it was starting to get a little bit more chilly. Not snow on the ground yet chilly, but chilly. So I goes up to my local watering hole, and I used to sit at the end of the establishment there on the corner. I had a big plate glass window, and the payphone was right there. The TV was there. All the essentials of life were at my disposal. I kid you not. I had it made down there. So one day I'm sipping on a Colorado Kool-Aid, and I'm in there and just minding my own business, just watching some type of sporting event. I don't remember what it was, but I see this lady deputy. She stops her police car right across from G Money's window. So instinctively, I see her walking across the street towards this feller standing there at the bus stop. And as I'm walking out the door, that fella takes off like a hyena. He was gone to the races. But I got a pretty good look at the fella, and he didn't look like he was no athlete. He looked more like a heroin addict, so I knew he wasn't going to run too far. But I remember she recognized me, or I saw her eyes kind of light up. And I was like just in jeans and a little bit of a hoodie type thing, and I had these big old clunking, work boots on. So I turned my head and I looked at her. I said, "Do you want me to get him?" And she couldn't leave her car unattended because she probably had a shotgun in there. And in Baltimore, you don't want to leave your police car running because you're going to come back to no police car. So she kind of gives me the nod. So at the same time, this was the craziest thing. I turned and there was a jogger going right by at the same time when all this took place. So I see him. When I turned around, I don't see the suspect type fella. All I see is the jogger, and he takes a right down this side street. So I start chasing him, thinking he's chasing the suspect. And I said, "Where'd he go?" He goes, "You mean the guy that was?" I said, "Yeah, where'd he go?" He goes, he kept going down Edmondson Avenue. I said, "You're not chasing him?" He said, "No." I'm like, oh man, I was so ticked off at that guy. So I gets back up on Edmondson Avenue. So G Money gets the bright idea. He says, "All right, I reckon this guy is not in too much athletic shape." So what G Money is going to do, these are real big blocks now. You're going from kind of like a rough area to like nicer, larger, bigger homes, older homes, but really nice homes. So G Money decides, all right, we got a plan of action. We're going to just haul butt as fast as I can, and I'm going to go up like 6 blocks, and I know he's not still running. I'm going to double back, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to find him hiding somewhere up here. Boy, that worked like a plan like you would not believe. General Powell would be so proud of me just for that execution of that plan. I run up there. I'm at like 5.5 blocks, 5 blocks or so. And I look in the backyard, and I see this guy bent over, huffing and puffing. And at that point, I see him. So there's a big, what do you call him? Evergreen or some little Christmas tree looking thing. And I just start beating feet because he's got his back turned towards me. And then as I'm getting closer to him, my mind says to G Money, I wonder what this feller did. I hope he didn't shoot nobody. I hope he didn't, kill nobody. I hope this feller ain't got no weapons. So by the time I start closing in on him, I guess he heard me huffing and puffing like a thoroughbred, and he turned around, and I guess I reckon about 15 feet away. He turns and he tries to run. Nobody runs on G Money and get away. I form tackled that feller because I've been playing football all my life. You ain't getting away from me. I tackled him, and it had been raining for days. It wasn't raining that day, but let me tell you, we were like 2 pigs wallowing around in the mud. So I'm there, and I had, in my younger years, I used to wrestle. So I kind of had him in like a 2, if anybody ever wrestled, and you know what the 2-on-1 move, I kind of had him like that, but I was on top of him, and I had each wrist out front. And I'm just waiting for the cavalry to come, because I know this lady's got to be, she's got to be looking for me. Somebody's got to be. So I'm there for, I kid you not, I am not exaggerating one bit. I'm fighting this guy for 15 minutes in the back, and I'm yelling and screaming for help. And I'll never forget, I kind of glanced up at the road, and I've never had real good vision for like seeing things at the distance. So I look up, and I see this fella jogging. So I'm screaming, "Hey, help, help, help," and all this. And that fella he just beating feet, and I kind of squinted a little bit, and he had one of them little Walkman things on. He couldn't hear nothing. I'm like, oh, hell. So I'm screaming for help. So finally, I kid you not, this was probably after 20 minutes. Nobody's helping me. And finally, somebody comes into the little entryway of that backyard where there was like a little gate. He goes, "You need help?" I said, "Go find the police. They got to be looking for me." I said, "Go find the police." And he goes, "Okay." So he's running back up on her. And where this all started was at the Baltimore County line, right at the city line. So all of a sudden, this old lady comes out. She lived there just out. She had to be every bit of 90. I swear she probably didn't weigh 73 pounds. This old lady, she goes, "What's going on out here? I want to know." And I'm like, "Lady, call the police. Call the police." And the fella that I had tackled, who was a criminal of some type, he's yelling to the lady, "Call the police. He's robbing me." And the lady, "I want to know." I'm like, "Lady, just get in your damn house and call the police. We both want the police." Can you believe this idiot's telling this lady to call the police? So we get there, and now I'm starting to get tuckered out, because after a while, So then he slowly gets, like, I kind of lost position on him for a second. He kind of gets up to his, and he reaches down, and he takes, I still have scars to this day on the back of my knuckle. He took a big old chunk out of the back of my and I wanted just to beat the daylights out of this guy, but I did not know if he had any weapons in his waistband. So I tried to grin and bear it as I'm watching my hand bleed profusely. And finally, the lady comes around. I kid you not. I'm tuckered out. I am worn out. I'm muddy. I'm miserable. I'm ticked. She comes around back. She's like, she's calling in on her microphone, and she said, "Yeah, we got him in custody. We're in the back of, you know, da, 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 da." And I'm like, can we freaking handcuff this guy first? I've been fighting this guy for 20, 25 minutes. Can you handcuff him before you start telling everybody you got him in custody? So, anyway, all of a sudden I hear the cavalry coming. I kid you not. I bet there was 40 police cars coming from the city side, the city police, and then the county police. There must have been 80 police cars. I kid you not, because they already knew something was up with this fella. And anyway, all these other Baltimore County cops, they recognized me because I used to catch so many shoplifters. So all of a sudden they're giving me all kinds of first aid with alcohol, and you know, everybody's worried about HIV and all that stuff. And I trying to do my duty, you know, my civil duty, just to help a police officer out. But anyway, I tell you what, that was one heck of an event. So about, I don't know how many months later, go to the courthouse for this trial, and he gets slapped the lightest sentence. I could not believe. He was charged with all these things like resisting arrest, all this stuff, running from the police, all this stuff. He got like 6 months probation, and he was ordered mandatory HIV test. You know, I was supposed to be notified every time he took one of those, so I could see where my status was. You know how many notifications I got? Zero. You know how many sunfish catches? Zero. That's just how many notifications I got. So anyway, during that period of time when I lived there in Catonsville, there was 5 episodes. I tried to jot them down earlier today. This is episode number 1 of, I got the nickname McGruff the Crime Dog because I could just sniff these idiots out left and right. And there's more stories coming, but that's a true story about McGruff the Crime Dog down in Catonsville, Maryland. You don't run from G Money. You can try and run from G Money, but G Money's going to track you down like a bloodhound. So y'all have a great day, and thanks for tuning in to Story Time.